we go. Okay, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I am here with a band that has not been on the show in a long time. I was trying to think back of when the last time you were on the show was. I could have just looked through the archives and found it, but I think it was like 2018 or something. It's been a while. We did a really unusual kind of live event with you a few years later, but it's been a really long time. So I'm happy to talk to Lounge FM again. I didn't actually realize, and we'll get into this for sure, but until you put out this new album, that you were still actively a band. So it's very cool to sort of suddenly discover this new Lounge FM record via the internet and realize that no, you guys are still actively doing stuff. So I think to start this off, so people can put a name to the voice, if you want to introduce yourselves and what instrument you play in the band, and then listeners can try to figure out who's speaking. So whoever wants to go first.
I'm Graham. I play keys.
I'm Justin. I play bass.
I'm Corey. I play guitar and sing.
I'm Adam, and I play drums.
Cool. And like I said, I mean, this seemingly came out of nowhere. Obviously, you've been doing stuff if you had enough music to put together to release a record. But can you kind of maybe fill me in on what's happened with this band, maybe since the pandemic? Because it seems like I hadn't heard much, and then suddenly, boom, there's a record.
I feel the same way.
I guess the three of us had got a house together before the pandemic, and then we were planning on recording the album, like either in the house or whatever. And then that happened and just kind of shut it all down. And so we had the material, we just hadn't recorded it. So the last past year we got to record it, and here it is. But yeah, people are fucking gone, so but we're back.
Was the idea always to just sort of release this suddenly like that? I mean, because again, it does seem from an outside view that it just sort of appeared on social media, and it's like, oh shit, there's a new record. Was that sort of always the plan, or were you hoping to roll it out differently if things had gone a different way?
I mean, if it would have went a different way, yeah. But this is just the way that things worked out for everyone's lives and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think because we had the material for so long, we were happy to just have it finished and put it out there. So I think, yeah, had things gone according to plan, maybe we would have pushed it differently, marketed it in some way. But yeah, we were just happy to have it done.
Awesome. Well, and like you said too, these are songs that have been around for a long time. Definitely listening to it, some of it's familiar, and I know it seems like this whole phone theme is something that was you were releasing singles like a couple of years back. There was a new Phone Who Dis song, and then this record has a very heavy phone kind of motif. Is that all from the same sort of time period, or are you guys just really into phones?
That'd be a Corey question.
Yeah. Well, the new Phone Who Dis was just a phone song, completely separate from this album.
Okay.
I just thought of a theme for an album, which is the one I had in Sia, and then just went with that. It just so happens to be, I guess, like the right songs about phones, or I do anyway.
Yeah. What's the appeal? I mean, I know it's not just phones, like kind of in general. I mean, it's more specific than that. But what was sort of the reason behind this theme with this record?
Well, I guess the phone is very prominent in life these days. But I was more thinking of like a '90s chat line, like when you'd be watching TV at 2 a.m. as a kid, and these sexy girls would show up in your screen with a phone number, and I thought it'd be funny to have that, but you call in and the girls just don't want to talk to you. It's like a rejection hotline kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know.
Does that do you think that works well with the type of music you guys are playing? Because you have this very kind of I think you described it on one of your things as Friday night bath music, which really sort of goes well, I think, with that whole pick up the phone kind of vibe, those old commercials, right? Is that a good pairing, you think?
Yeah, it's like that late night chat music, very chill and inviting. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Well, what do the rest of you think about the phone theme? I mean, if he's writing these songs about phones, what? How do you guys feel about it?
I thought it was kind of a goofy, novel.
Probably
thing.
Stupid, eh?
I like to use the word satirical.
Yeah. I was down for it. I mean, we trust Corey to write these songs, put them together, and once the idea was there, we would kind of joke around about it and kind of flesh some of the ideas out, or the theme as oh yeah, of course the girls don't want to, and so I think we just ended up rolling with it, and I think we were happy too.
There's something
What?
kind of
Sorry, go
lo-fi, just like 90s television aesthetic, I think, too. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
maybe kind of a
Good point.
tie-in of just the like,
It did seem appropriate.
yeah,
Yeah, it did.
like I'm almost imagining it like being rolled out on a TV in school and then watching it because you
Yeah.
have a substitute or something like that.
It's questionable content for a substitute, but yeah.
Yeah.
The cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, right. That's the cool dude. Again, I mean, like I said, I know these songs they've been around for a while, and you've been sort of kicking them around, waiting to get them out there. But how has this sound of the band sort of changed or matured or developed over the course of the previous record to this one? Because it's been a number of years. A lot of people probably haven't heard you in a while. What are people going to hear on this one that's sort of maybe that's changed since the first one?
I think it's just toned back. Like
The
for the
addition of-
first record, the only person or people that are still in this record is me and Adam. So the rest of the group has changed. I think it's just kind of
Yeah.
dialed back a bit, more tightened up.
We were able to get back to the 5-piece format as opposed to the 4-piece that we did for those singles, the new Phone Who Dis single. So like there's some more of the instrumental elements, like sections that will feature a guitar or a keyboard. So we kind of were able to get back to form that way. But yeah, we definitely wanted to mellow it out, dial it back, make it more appropriate for the musicians who are, involved now.
Yeah.
And I think it happened pretty naturally with the sound that we had before and the ways that Corey would write songs and the way we would put them together. But yeah, overall, just kept it chill.
And yeah, it does have those instrumental sections like from the first album, but just a bit dialed back. Not, yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say you've mellowed it out and dialed it back, because I think the first album was quite mellow and quite laid back to begin with, right? So what does that exactly mean? Like, how do you dial back something that's already kind of in that area?
Well, I feel like there was some face melting solos in the first record. But it's like, hey guys,
Well, Brendan rips pretty good at one point too.
That's
You have
true.
a pretty
Yeah,
good rip too.
I guess it's a little less like distorted rock kind of feel and a bit more it's a bit more smooth.
some warmer tones now. Yeah.
More mindful of the smooth, I suppose.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that just mainly a factor of who's in the band now, or is that something that you deliberately kind of decided to move towards?
Probably both. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think it happened naturally. Just with the musicians involved and what we had to work with. Like we were a 4-piece for a while, so we had to think about working without a lead guitar player, and ultimately it got very dialed back from where it was before. So then moving forward with when Brendan McLean joined on guitars again, we got back to that 5-piece. Then we were able to bump it up a little bit more and keep those, but still from a spot where we had really toned things down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a better grasp on sort of what kind of music you play with Lounge FM? Because I think we probably talked about this the very first time you were on the show years ago, and I don't know what to call it. I mean, I did like that definition of Friday night bath music or whatever, but like, if you run into the random person on the street who hasn't seen you in years and like, oh, you're in a band, what kind of music do you play? Are you any closer to sort of figuring out what to call this?
Well, thank God someone came up with the term bedroom pop, which I kind of think that fits the vibe mostly.
I've not heard this term before.
You got to lunch, buddy.
What is bedroom pop?
This is bedroom pop. I don't know.
Well, define it to me.
It's like indie, lo-fi, do it at home.
Well, that's exactly what we are.
It's like
so I
chill
guess
pop.
That's what we are.
It's like chill pop music. I don't know. It's like jazzy R&B, pop, that kind of shite.
Whenever I like classify it to like friends or family, I always classify it as like stoner shoegaze.
Mm.
I don't think it's shoegaze.
Yeah, well, it's not so much like low energy these days, but it's super chill.
To sum it up, we hate the question still.
Yeah, everyone does, and I hate asking it too, because I know the people are gonna like give me shit for it. But yeah, it's okay. Maybe a better way to approach that then is like, after all this time as a band, I know that like lineups have changed. We had this big pandemic in the middle of it where shows weren't happening. But who do you play with? Like, what other bands locally do you feel like you fit in with with the sound? Because I don't think there are a lot of other people playing, if you want to call it stoner shoegaze music, but that like locally, right? So where do you kind of have you figured out like sort of where a scene within the larger scene that you fit in with, or are you just sort of this unicorn?
I think we're very much just kind of doing our own thing. We haven't been very active in promoting ourselves in a live, like to play live. We played like one gig this summer and one last winter, and I think we've got one coming up this winter. So we end up, we end up being able to find the other niche bands that we kind of work well with.
Just like the indie whatever bands.
For the longest time, I think like we did every show with like Jay Wood or something like that.
We had like 5 in a row shows with Jay Wood, right?
Shout out to Jay, but
Shout out, yeah.
That kind of makes sense. That I can see that being a good fit.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't at the time for sure.
Are you is playing live something you want to do more of now, or now that this record's out, or are you happy with sort of the sporadic live shows and then focusing more on writing, recording, and things like that?
Honestly, something we haven't really talked about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, yeah,
I'm game for anything really at this point.
I'm down. Like now that the album's out, like we didn't really want to play shows till the album came out. Like we did a couple here and there, but we didn't really want to play much until the album was released, which unfortunately took forever. So maybe now that it's out, we'll probably throw some more gigs around there.
Is this album something that you? I mean, I'm assuming it is, but is it something you can pull off live, sort of as is, or do you have to alter the songs in any way or manipulate them so they work in a live setting?
They're pretty true to form.
yeah. I have to do a little bit of homework to figure out how to do like some of the layers of keyboard parts at the same time. But it is like the recordings are pretty close to how it sounds when we're playing it all live, with just like a few other layers added in. So I think the album release will be very, very true to the recordings.
Yeah, there are some samples on there that I have a sampler, which I'll be playing those to my sampler live. So it'll all probably sound pretty close to what it is.
Cool. Well, I was gonna ask about the samples. All of the sort of dialogue. You have a woman talking about some of the stuff we were saying earlier, the commercial type stuff, the phone related conversations. Is that samples, or is that someone actually coming in and reading something?
Yeah, that was Courtney Fox. She came to the studio and did all this for us.
Cool.
I just like my idea of what I wanted, and she nailed it.
Yeah,
perfectly.
Is that something you'd play back live on a sampler, or?
Yeah, I'll be putting those samples into my sampler, and so you'll hear all that stuff live too.
Cool. What did these songs like? I don't want to keep dwelling on the fact that these are old songs, but it's something that comes up a lot when I'm talking to bands. Is that like once you have the album, it's out now. People are maybe hearing these songs for the first time if they're new to your band or they haven't listened to you in a while. Do these songs feel old to you? Like, do you feel like you as a band have kind of progressed past, like way past this, and you're on to new shit now, or are you comfortable sort of like knowing you're gonna have to play these songs for the next foreseeable future because that's what people are hearing on the CD or on the download?
Yeah, we've been playing these songs live for a while. Like the couple of shows we have done, we played a lot, if not all of them. And like lots of these songs were written like in like 2018, 19. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So
there's a little bit of that feeling though that like how much can we play these old songs and how often do we want to play them? I understand the question, but I mean, it's also been spaced out so long, and I think being happy that they're finished, we'll also be happy to play them.
Yeah,
it's not that they're too old that we're past them.
We also don't get together too often, so it seems like new whenever we actually get together and play a show. At least it's the circumstance this time around.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we played like 7 shows in a row, we'd have a different response.
I guess having the album out changes things too. It's like now that people can actually hear the songs themselves. Yeah.
Do you intend to? I mean, now that this is out there, and now that these songs have finally been released, are you hoping to put out more stuff like within a shorter timeline, or could we expect like the next record to be another few years down the road?
It could very well be a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not too sure.
Well, I mean, it's maybe an unfair question because you just released this one too. So
Question.
Yeah.
No, it's good to check in.
Yeah. For a while, I'm sure we'll just be focusing on the release show coming up in January, and then in the wake of that, we'll see what happens next, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
what are the details of the release show?
Sorry?
The release show. What are the details of the release show?
Oh, it's January 20th at the Goodwill. It's our album release and also Graham's other band, Odd Outfit.
Mm-hmm.
They have an album coming out too, so we're doing a co-album release show. And we'll have a DJ performing before and after the sets. Yeah, should be
Cool.
fun.
Well, I was gonna say Odd Outfit. That's another band that I forgot existed. I mean, I have the first album and I listened to that. It's still a good record, still holds up, just like the Lounge FM one does. But yeah, it seems like another randomly this band still exists. I know this isn't an Odd Outfit episode, but can you maybe talk a bit about what's happened with that band? Has it been consistently active and I just haven't been paying attention, or what?
No, it has not been active, but like we finished the recordings for that album, more than 4 years ago, and just never quite like made the push to put it out there. Yeah, it's been a bit. So it worked out nicely with kind of Lounge FM. I feel like finally getting this album put together to bring the Odd Outfit stuff.
Kicked your band in the ass.
Yeah, no, that's what we needed. And like Courtney, who did the skits on the Lounge FM stuff, is singing in Odd Outfit. And so there was just like a nice, and also like we had played Lounge FM and Odd Outfit had played shows together in the past too.
Our first album release, they opened up.
Yeah. So it seemed like, there's just like a lot of, like you said, you kind of gave the kick in the ass that I needed to actually try to get that Odd Outfit album out there. But it should be a lot of fun getting to do the show together.
And this will be the last Odd Outfit show.
And we're basically like, hasn't been doing stuff in a while, but
you just banned it?
Well, we basically did a while ago, but we had this finished album, so so it's I'm glad that we're
You've risen from the dead and then immediately dead again.
Yeah, you got it.
Right on. Well, I was going to ask, how you decide which band is your priority, but I think you just answered that with the fact that Odd Outfit's done after this.
Priority isn't even us.
At this point, people are hearing this. They could be hearing it the day it comes out. They could hear it a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever. What's the best way to find your music online and also find out what you're up to as far as upcoming shows and potentially new music if someone's listening down the road and things like that?
Well, you can find the album pretty much anywhere you listen to music. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. And if you want to follow what we're doing, we basically only use Instagram. So yeah, just give us a follow there.
Cool.
Yeah.